What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Dirty Mike, and today, my friends, I've got another special guest. We have Ivan from Sweden, and the most successful player actually on the PlayStation 4, and the most successful FIFA player ever from Sweden. How are you doing, my brother?
Hey, thank you, Mike. Nice to be here.
And today, we're going to talk about how to win more in FUT Champions. I did a video last week with Tass. Ironically, both Tass and Boris have both joined Hashtag United, which is pretty awesome. Seems like a big step for esports. But you guys liked that video so much that I wanted to bring it back now with the most successful PlayStation player and a good friend of mine. I've actually known Ivan and Tass for quite some time. When did we meet first?
I think we met first time in person. We met in Paris, right? 2013?
I believe that's correct. Was it 13? Yeah, it was at Electronic Sports World Cup.
Maybe
I think it was
14.
later than that. 14.
Yeah,
14.
Perhaps 14, yeah.
I had qualified in the U.S. region, or I got an invitation or whatnot. That was a good tournament for the most part. That's when we learned about the dragback. I recall.
The dragback from the Iranian guy, he was insane with that dragback.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. But today I've got some different questions for Ivan. We're still talking about how to get better at FUT Champs. And I've also got some similar questions to what I asked Task in terms of some of the formations and the tactics. If you want to see me find another person to come onto the show, because I never thought I'd turn this into a series. Let's try to get 2,000 likes, because you guys have supported the last episode so much that there must be a lot of interest regarding what the best players are doing. And in the first month, Ivan had 157 wins out of 160, correct?
That's correct.
Ooh, God, that just...
You got it.
That hits me deep. That hits me deep, bro. I have not had anywhere near the same levels of success. But let's get into the questions. I'm looking forward to your comments. Ivan's going to be in there, and I'm linking his channel as well as his Twitter. So go over there, drop him a subscription. He's just getting busy on the English-speaking channel because he always did everything in Swedish, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
But his English is spot on. He's got that accent.
Oh,
I like the Swedish accent, man. You guys got that accent, bro.
Yeah, maybe.
But without further ado, question numero uno. I don't know why I'm bringing Spanish to an English and Swedish audience here. But what formation do you use? And I'm going to show it on screen. Why do you choose this formation? And also, how many formations would you say are top tier? Let me know if I'm overwhelming you with questions.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. I'm using 4-3-1-2, so that's a type of... It's similar to the diamond, to the narrow diamond 4-1-2-1-2. But I think when I play the 4-3-1-2, I get better pressure play and better combinations against, how we say, average players. So I simply get more wins by playing 4-3-1-2, because sometimes when I use diamond, I just don't feel that I have the distance between the players, and sometimes I just get way more pressed than I should get. So I just feel that 4-3-1-2 gives me better pressure. And what was the second question?
It's all right. I overwhelmed you with questions.
Yeah.
It's part of my gameplay. A follow-up to what you had to say. What mentality do you play on? And are you able to overwhelm people better with the 4-3-1-2 versus the 4-1-2-1-2? Is that what you were kind of saying with the pressure? That you can overwhelm the average or above average player?
Yeah.
In a much easier format?
Yeah, and also when I play in the attack, I sometimes feel that I get more options to pass, because I also tried out the diamond. I just get to know that the distance sometimes between the players is too far. So this far I might change it in the future, but right now 4-3-1-2 is working very good for me.
Are you on defensive, balanced, attacking? Probably not ultra attack.
So I'm always starting the game with defensive, always, because if you have balanced, sometimes you can get in trouble, especially on corners, because if you have balanced, you will only have 1-2 players staying at the back, and you can easily get countered. So that's why I always start with defensive, because I want to try out my opponent, how is he playing, what's his style. And then when I feel comfortable, if I'm not leading, then I just move up to balanced. And if I'm losing in the end, or if it's extra time and it's going to penalties, then I move up to attacking.
And another follow-up with formations. Do you swap formations depending on your opposition? Do you change formations once you've got a lead? What kind of changes can people expect to see from the pro scene with formation adjustments? Or you ride or die, one formation, and all you're adjusting is the mentality or maybe the pressure and tactics within that formation?
So I'm actually always staying with. I'm never going 5 at the back or 3 at the back because I just messes up my defensive thinking. Often my formation is of course not working against all my opponents, and then you always. This is a key part. You always have to have a plan B formation that you feel comfortable with. And I always have something different. I'm using the 4-3-1-2, and if that one is not working, then I have to be fast because you notice it quick. You know, if it's not working, your opponent is dominating, he gets most of the chances, and you just feel locked. Then you have to be fast and you have to change it. And then I'm changing to 4-2-3-1, which is much more balanced. You have much more options to pass. You don't have to feel so stressed when you have the ball. So it's just, you know, you always have to have one formation that is different and that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I've told people this year that it's good to know how to use a narrow and then also a wider formation.
Exactly.
Are you using the wide variation or the closer variation for the 4-2-3-1?
I'm actually using the narrow one, but the narrow one is also pretty wide, you know, because you always have two. It's not wingers, but they're almost acting like wingers.
Yep, the left and right cams.
Exactly. So, and I think that one is better than the wide one because the wide one is sometimes just extremely defensive. And especially like if you have a tough game, maybe you're even losing, then you want to change to a formation that is a little bit more attacking. So that's why I have the 4-3-1-2, which is my plan A, and then my plan B is 4-2-3-1.
Question number 2, even though I realized question number 1, it had a lot of depth. We went very detailed. I want to know, and a lot of people want to know, how do you complete FUT Champions? In terms of, do you space it out? Is there a better day to play on? What's your mindset going into the weekend, each weekend? Because you know you're going to play. It's what you go for.
Yeah, thing is that I'm just trying to make it fit my lifestyle because I'm really not a morning person. So I just try to stick to play the games either after lunch or at the evening. But the thing is, I think that many people make the mistake that they play too many games in a row, because after you play, let's say you just sit and play for like 2 hours, then your brain will get tired and you will make a lot of more mistakes. You will try to and you will play stressful. You will get stuck in the same patterns. So I think that it's important to take breaks. I always try to never playing more than 2 hours in a row.
That's the Boris plan.
Yeah, that's
now that makes sense. That's how I am. I've complained about this because I want to live stream FUT Champions because I know people enjoy watching it. But after playing about 2 hours, I'm in the same span as you. I would love to cut off the Xbox or cut off the PlayStation, do something for a couple hours and come back because I start to lose focus and you can feel it. And the only follow-up I really had asking about how you complete FUT Champs was, do you play off personal form? So if you know you're playing bad, maybe you got to win, but you're like, ooh, it wasn't clicking, do you stop? Or vice versa, if you know you're playing good, do you maybe try to play more than 2 hours because you can feel that you're in stride and everything's clicking well?
Well, sometimes when you play for a longer period, then you just get some very comfortable feeling. But most often, I just feel that after, like, especially after 2 hours when I play, I just, like I said, I just get stuck in the same patterns, and I think it's important to know when it's time to stop and to know yourself as a FIFA person. Like, okay, now I'm not playing my best, and now I have to stop. So just that you know yourself as a player. And always when I feel, okay, I'm starting to dip, I'm starting to play bad, then I have to stop. So sometimes you just get stressed because you know you have to finish a certain amount of games. But planning is the key to success in FUT Champs. You have to have a plan and a schedule, because if you just sit the first day and play 40 games, you're not gonna make it. You have to have a plan. Like you play, let's say you try to have 10 games on Friday, 15 games on Saturday, and then 15 games on Sunday. You have to have a plan, because that is the key to success.
That's been my mistake, actually. is that I often, even as a content creator, just combining my weekend and FUT Champs, I end up having to spam too much sometimes, and I don't end up with that 10-15-15, which I think is a great idea.
So I just want to add one thing, that if you're going to play 15 games one day, then please split it up in 2 sessions, because 15 games in a row is too much. So if you have like, okay, I'm going to start off with playing 7-8 games in the morning, and then the rest of the games whenever you want, after lunch or what fits you the best. But just try to not play too long. Just stick to maybe 7, 8, 9 games maximum, and then break.
I think I'm going to apply this to my live stream actually in the upcoming week and see how it works for me in terms of half the games, if I'm doing a 15 game session, half will be live stream, half will be off stream at different times of the day.
Yeah, trust me, man. You know, when I play, like, because I'm recording all of my games, and I can see when I'm sitting more than 2 hours, and I can exactly see also that then I started to play worse and worse for every game, because I just get tired, you know.
Speaking of recording his games, those will be live on his YouTube channel, which I already mentioned. It's down below, but I wanted to throw another plug in there. And Boris says his custom tactics are so secretive that he's got a video going live this week, but we can't talk about it on this video.
Yeah, but what I can say...
You want to explain it on your channel, I understand.
Okay,
so
but
I'm just saying...
I can say that it's very, very balanced, and I'm having everything close to 50. That's just a little hint.
But if you want the full secrets in terms of player instructions and tactics, Boris said, look, Mike, I'll come on there, I'll drop a little bit of knowledge, but I'm not giving you everything. You got to come to my channel. I was like, that's fine, fair enough. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but I often feel that people put too much weight on the custom tactics. You know, you can have whatever custom tactics there is. You can have everything on 1, everything on 100. You know, 90% of the success is how you play. It's just not... Sure, the custom tactics is a part of it, but just don't put too much weight on it, you know, because it's all depending on how you play in your gameplay.
That's absolutely true, because I mean, you've been around for a while, myself, Tass, everybody, in terms of some of the competitive community, and the reason I say that is because when I talk to Tass, he hasn't used custom tactics in any other year.
No.
And he's always been great at the game. It's not a coincidence. If Yvonne didn't have custom tactics, he's still going to be a badass at FIFA 17, 16, 15, 14, and so forth and so on. You just got the mind for it.
Yeah, so to just sum it up, like, custom tactics is not going to make you a great player, but it's going to make you a better player. But what is behind the success is to work on your gameplay, just some details like defense, dribbling, shooting, passing, timing. So don't put too much weight on the custom tactics. Sure, it's gonna make you better, but it's not something magical.
It magnifies what you already are. So if you're an average player, you might become a little bit of a better average player.
Yeah.
If you're an above average player, you become a little bit of a better above average player.
Exactly.
And so forth.
Yeah.
Number 3 on the questions, and this brings me to something that hurts my heart. And I don't even want to know what you're going through, because I saw you tweet out that it took you 11, 12, 13 attempts to get into a match. Because one of the flaws of matchmaking is that everybody still knows who the top players are. Therefore, they're avoiding you. And I'm assuming when a lot of people play you, you get instant park the bus, custom formations, they're holding the ball, nobody's attacking. I don't even want to get into what I've been going through. And I don't have the Boris record. So talk to me. How are you combating this? How are you beating this? What is your strategy versus... I'm not even talking about park the bus. It's almost worse when you go against the custom formation and everybody's pulling everyone back manually. Because you go up against a lot of players that aren't bad at FIFA. They're just playing, for lack of a better word, like a hoe.
Yeah. So thing is that, sure, there are some pros and some cons with playing against opponents that knows you. The thing is that most of them try to just keep as low score as possible, and that's when park the bus comes into the picture. But also they will also play a bit more scared, like they will try to play very simple, and that's also how I like to face it, because if I play a player that plays park the bus, then I'm also starting to play very simple, like no complications. I just shoot very much, I run very much. I just try to play as simple as possible, because since they are stressed, they will also make easy mistakes in the defense. So I think when I play Park the Bus, I make most of my goals just running straight forward between their center back and their left back or wing back. So like I just run, then I cut in and just make a pass. So I think what works best against Park the Bus is just playing a simple game style. Like don't get stressed, don't try anything complicated. Just play very simple, shoot a lot, make a lot of crosses. Just play simple, you know.
No, absolutely. He's just talking about getting rid of anything that's complex in your gameplay.
Yeah, complex.
For example, I use a lot of skill moves. So does Boris. That doesn't work for somebody who has 8 people in the box, unfortunately.
No.
And taking shots, what can happen? And I talked about this in an entire dedicated video, but taking a lot of shots turn into rebounds.
Yeah.
You get a deflection, you get a corner kick. Are you still doing the special Boris Flicks?
Yeah.
I know you're known for the Boris Flicks, yeah?
Yeah.
I would like to see a corner kick tutorial from Boris this year, but basically, in the last couple FIFAs, Yvonne's been known to kind of use flicking on in different locations to a back post, to the near post, to put this in the center of the pitch and scoring goals in that way from corners, and that would still work wonderfully versus Park the Bus. And I've seen a lot of pros that are beating people that are just keeping everyone back by corner kicks, via corner kicks. Running the line, get a corner kick, and then you're able to take advantage of something. Do you use the short corner as well or no?
Not so often.
So I need to watch. Hurry up with that video, because I'm tired of short corners. I want some more Yvonne flicks, all right? Because I know that you're about that life. How many games would you say out of the 40 do you play against someone who's trying to slow it down versus you, Park the Bus and ultra defensive? Because I know it's got to be difficult. You probably get it worse than me.
Yeah.
People like doing it to me as a troll.
But I actually think that it's more common, because I spoke to some persons, and I think it's more common on Xbox, because on PlayStation it happens maybe every fourth or fifth game, so it's not so common. But it's still happening. Like it's happening at least 6-7 times each weekend. So it's you have to have some plans. And my best trick is just to, as soon as you get close, just shoot, you know, because there will be a rebound, maybe a corner. Because the biggest problem that people do playing Park the Bus is getting stressed and trying to pass the ball into the box. It's not gonna pass there, you know, it's 8 defenders. So as soon as you just get close to his goal, just shoot, you know.
What's the saying? You throwing the whole kitchen at him? Or everything in the kitchen sink? I don't know. I might have ruined that. If you could change something from FUT Champions, what would you change? If you could maneuver some things around. If Boris was the administrator for FUT Champions, what would you change? I've got one that I think you'd swap, but I'm going to see if you say it.
Well, first of all, I think that they should not show any information at all. So like you can't see when the club was founded, you can't see the name of the club, you can't see the badge, you can't see anything. You just get matched up, you know.
I agree. That's the one that I was like, if he doesn't say this, I'm going to be shocked, because it's a waste of time. And people that are bad, that maybe get matched up and they're picking their opponent, should be able to back out. And if this is really about the pros playing pros, then let them play.
Yeah, let them play. Because the thing with this Glico system, when you always are supposed to get matched up against better opponents, is exactly that you are going to get matched up against better opponents for each games. It should be almost impossible to get 40 wins, but now it is possible, because you can almost cherry pick your opponents. And that shouldn't be the case. You should get, for every single game, like if you have, let's say you have 20 wins and 0 losses, then your 21st opponent is going to be a very, very, very good guy. And at this moment, actually, I can't tell any difference from game 12 to game 39. Like there is almost no difference in a matter of skill.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, it is, and I think they are just missing the point, because to get 40 wins should be something absolutely magical, like you have to play your best FIFA ever, you know. Like 40 out of 40 now is still very, very tough. What I'm trying to say is that you should get matched up against tougher opponents for every win, and right now that is not happening because there is a way to almost cherry pick your opponents.
If you're taking a lot of notes, you have to take some detailed notes about who to avoid, who to play, and so forth and so on. For me, for example, I don't avoid any good players, but if you play that park the bus from the jump, I don't want to go against it. So I'll write down your name. I just started doing this, but I'll doodle your name so I can avoid wasting 20 minutes of my life in a boring-ass match. But you're 100% correct when you talk about 40 out of 40 should be the achievement of a lifetime, as opposed to people being able to actually do it. Like, I think you said you got, what, 37 or 38 this past weekend?
Yeah.
And you were disappointed. That tells you everything you need to know about FUT Champions.
Yeah, that's like, if you get past 35, that should be something magical, you know, because you beated a lot of pro players, but now you're just playing against park the bus players, you know. You play against almost all opponents are very similar. So like, I rather play against a pro player than playing against a destructive, boring player, you know, any day.
Same, actually. I might learn something from playing versus somebody that's better than me or at the same level or around the same area, and they're trying to outplay me as opposed to trying to outpossess me, just holding the ball and doing stupid stuff, like holding the ball in the corner, having a short corner and then passing it back. I don't know if you've experienced that a lot, but I'll go against people that will take a short corner and then pass it back to the midfield and pass it back to their defense and back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm playing FIFA because it's fun, you know, and when you play against a destructive player, it's not fun, you know, and I'd rather lose to a pro player than playing 20 minutes against a player who is just trying to defend, you know. So
the trackback game is real.
Yeah, so I think the solution here is simply to just take away all kind of info, you know. You just get matched up, and whoever there is, you have to play him, you know.
We agree. Anything else that we need to add that would be changes? But that's the big major matchmaking issue that I've seen as well.
Yeah, and I think also that the system is not really working good because, like I said, there is no difference. Like, I can't notice any difference between game 12 or game 39. Like, even if I have 0 losses, the opponent, it doesn't get tougher for each game between 12 and 40, you know.
I wish they'd put out criteria, because I just feel as if EA hasn't put out information that really tells me how we're building this matchmaking in terms of, is my skill rating going to dictate it? Is my wins and loss going to make this happen? Is it what tier am I in? If I'm in Gold 1 or Elite 3, am I only going to match with Elite 3 or Gold 1? And they never really stated anything. Therefore, we are making theories, assumptions. Oh, it has to be this way, but we don't have the facts to back us, because EA, as the credible source, has never made a statement unless you've seen something I have not seen.
Well, you're supposed to play tougher opponents for every win, but that's
of course,
not happening,
but
no.
come on, we know better than that.
Yeah.
It's just like, this inform is supposed to be better than this regular card, but it's not always that way. Renato Sanchez at a 78 should not outperform 85s, but does he? Absolutely.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, in fact, you have him in your team. Your whole team is like amazing from top to bottom, and then if somebody didn't play FIFA, they'd be looking at Renato Sanchez like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Why do you have this Portuguese center mid? What's so special about this guy?
But if you try him, you can just say that I will never, ever take away this guy from my team. He is amazing, you know.
The true definition of a gladiator.
A gladiator, yeah.
Especially with the right chemistry styles, which is another question I'm going to ask you about. Before we get into that, I want to talk about how to improve in 3 different levels of players, and maybe you have some advice. So you've got the guy that qualifies for FUT Champs. Maybe he barely qualifies, and in 40 games he gets 10 wins, so he's not doing so well. Then you have the more above average player where they might get 20 wins and 20 losses. Then you have the guy that's good who gets 30 out of 40, around that area. And then you've got the pros or the competitive players that are consistently always getting 34, 35 and up. Maybe 35 and up is more of the measuring point. And I'm talking about every weekend, not you did it once every single weekend you're able to get 35 plus wins, then you'd be looking at more of a competitive or starting to go up against a lot of the pros. What advice would you have for each tier? Because there's different things people need to improve to go from 10 wins to 20, 20 to 30, and then 30 to almost at 40. That actually might be hard to talk about because there's so many small, minute details. But I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult question. But like, you always start from the defense. If you have a good defense, like if you have a very, very solid defense, then you're always going to reach at least 25 wins because you build the game from the defense. And if you have not reached 25 wins yet, then you have a problem in the defense. And then afterwards you can start working on details like, okay, can I maybe shoot a little bit from a different angle? What is most efficient? Maybe I have to learn a new skill move. Maybe it's too easy to read my game style. But you always have to start to have a solid defense. And when you created a solid defense, then you can start thinking about, okay, what can I change in my attack? But I think what's the difference between a player that is 30 to 35 and a player that is 35 to 40 is a lot of mental things, that you're always able to keep calm, and especially when you are losing, and that you have some kind of like plan B, because your game style is not gonna work. Like if you have the same game style against all opponents, it's not going to work because all opponents have different types of defending, and you will never be able to play the same way against all of them. So you always have to have different ways of attacking that is working for different types of opponents, and that is a very big part, a very big difference for players that are, let's say, mid-range, maybe 25 to 35, and players that are like 35 to 40, that they have this ability to play in a different way. And that is a key.
Instead of being a one-stop shop, you've got two shops that you're stopping at.
Or
not the best analogy, but you could swap things up and you keep good composure is what you're saying between 30, 35, and then 35 to 40. And I think your advice, if you're getting under 20 wins, let's say that. If you're getting under 20 wins, then you have a defensive issue.
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty fair because if you have great defense, you're going to play against enough people that rush.
Yeah.
Or enough people that make mistakes where your defense will lead to your attack, just allowing you to have the counter attack or allowing you to create enough opportunities to put yourself in a position to win 20 games.
Yeah, like in most of my games, I just defend very good and score very, very simple goals, like just passing, crossing, running, and you, like, the key is really to have a good defense and to have a multiple way of attacking. Like if you have that, and if you're able to keep your if you're able to keep your head cool, then you will be able to maybe reach 35-40.
Advice from the best, and I know you mentioned chemistry styles before. How important are chemistry styles to you?
Chemistry styles are, I'm just not using any players on basic because that is a waste of resources. But I'm actually using Neuer on basic because he is very good as he is, and he has like no weak spots, so just improve his good sides to become even better. But most of the players, like almost all players, have some kind of weak side, like some players have bad dribbling, some have bad passing, and I'm just trying to find a chemistry style, especially for pace. Like if you have a player that is maybe 70, like if you have a player that is, for example, 75 pace, like you have a wing back that is very, very good, but he is just a bit too slow, then you just give him anchor or shadow, and bam, he is a fast one, and he's an amazing one. So I think that chemistry styles does big difference. Like I have Pogba, and I'm using him as a defensive player because I feel a bit disappointed in his attacking. But
Man, he's awesome for me attacking.
yeah, but I just found a way to use him, and that is defensively, because now he's just eating the midfield, and I gave him Shadow, which is giving a boost to defending and pace. So he's everywhere, you know, and with these long legs, you know, he's just eating the midfield.
Eating that midfield.
Yeah, he's just eating it, you know.
I love that. And then obviously you prefer Anchor as your defensive chemistry style because it's on all your defenders.
Yeah, but what I'm not understanding, why are people wasting resources with fast players? Because I've seen a lot of players using, example, Hunter for Bale. He already has 95 pace, and Hunter gives plus 12 to pace, and 99 is maximum. So why are they using Hunter for so fast players? Because they are just wasting so many skill points on a stat that is not going to get better than 99. So that's a big problem that I see people, or a big mistake, that they're just using for example Hunter on players that already are very fast. So instead give them Hawk and give them a bonus to physical, because physical in this game is important.
Yeah, you're
so
right. Definitely
just
important.
don't waste resources. Look at their stats and give a boost to their weak spots, and try to determine a way to use a player. Like if I want to have Pogba, if you want to use him as an attacking player, then he should have Hunter, and if you want to use him as a defensive player, give him Shadow. So just try to find a way to use your players that fits your style the best.
Absolutely, it makes a lot of sense. And even myself, when I'm thinking about my squad, sometimes you just rush to throw on a chemistry style on everybody, and you don't necessarily think about the little bit of intricacies where it might make a difference on that one long shot that you had an opportunity, or that one 50-50 where you had to bump off somebody. I'm going to leave off there. This video is already super long. Remember to go subscribe to Boris' YouTube channel, which I'll leave down below, as well as his Twitter. Go check that out.
Thank you.
See how he's doing, how he's progressing. He slid that thank you in there real quick.
Yeah. Had to.
But I'll have a lot more content coming for you guys ASAP. If you like it, you know, drop a thumbs up. It tells me that you want me to bring on maybe another guest, and we can talk more about how to get better at FUT Champs and just the pro FIFA scene in general. I always try to come up with some more creative questions. And if you have any questions, comments down below. I'll make sure Boris goes through the comments. I'll force him to do it. I'll be like, dude, reminder, people want to ask you things. You got to get in there. But until next time, peace.
Mike is the best.
Any last words for him?
Mike is the best.
Huh? Peace. Until next time.
Bye.